Good morning, everyone. This is Royce Miller coming back at you with yet another episode of Royce's Recounts, where I talk about the strange tales that have happened in my life. There's not that many. I've led a pretty sheltered, unfettered existence, as you can tell by my soft, pudgy exterior. Oops, sorry. But I've had the occasional run afoul of bad or strange circumstance. Last week, I hurt my toe. I bent my pinky toenail on my shoe. I was walking to the bathroom. I keep my shoes in my bedroom because this little snot goblin next to me, he likes chewing them up. And I had just gotten those shoes for Christmas, so I'm not letting him have a nibble on my Christmas present. They're nice leather work shoes. Well, not leather soled, obviously, but nice leather shoes that my grandma got me because she's a wonderful woman. But they are very sturdy, and they can really hurt if you stub your toe on them. But it reminded me of an incident that happened when I was a child. So I figured I'd regale you with that since since I paid my car bill and am broke until next week. This wasn't me being bad with money. This was me paying off a bill that I've had for a few months now. My battery died last December. No, January. Had to have my car towed in and the battery replaced. And that was a $400 bill. And so I paid off the remaining half of it. And because I needed to go in for an oil change, and I didn't want to do that with that hanging over my head. Because, you don't want to add on to your tab. Like, if you have a mechanic who you have enough of a rapport with where they will give you a tab, it's not good to let that tab get very big. Anyway. Oh, hey there, buddy. Oh. Anyway, so, unfortunately, no Let's Tries or anything fun. I tried to get the new Minecraft milk to try for you all, but that had to go to actual groceries that will sustain me, not just so, although I do actually have some stuff over there that I got a month ago, but I didn't want to do it because it was a film foodie thing, and I was already doing a film foodie for green eggs and ham. No, not green eggs and ham. What did I do for film foodie? I can't remember. Anyway, today's tale is the trial of the torn off toenail. This happened when I was in elementary school. Back then, summer vacation was something to be enjoyed and beloved. Because my family had fantastic AC. So the nights were cool in our room, and the days warm and, hot. All the water you could drink out of the faucet. All the summer eating programs at the school where they fed you for free if you went up to the middle school. I need to tell you guys about that middle school sometime. It is insane. And that word is unfortunately very apt for what I would describe it as. Anyway, but this summer we weren't at my childhood home in Glenwood. We were at we were staying with my grandma in Des Moines. Well, the Des Moines area, anyway. I don't want to give you the exact location, obviously. And we were picking up my cousin from her daycare. This was a nice daycare. I remember specifically they had a bunch of movie posters in their hallway. I think because I think because there was a theater nearby, they got like discounts, or well, they got marquee posters because they were the nice posters too. I remember specifically, I think they had a Lion King poster that had like Scar and the hyenas for some reason. Anyway, um, so I, so we go there and they have this heavy door. Like this thing. I don't know. I guess because it needs to lock in case a child predator comes by or something. But it's unlocked at this point, and so it's pulled open, and so I'm standing in front of it in open toe sandals, and I can't remember if I pull it open or someone else pulls it open, but it is pulled open, and it is almost tall enough to go over my toes, which I don't realize are in the way, but not quite. So imagine here's my toe here's my toe, here's my nail. The door comes and does this. My toenail, my big toenail is literally accordion folded on my foot. I am screaming in pain. It is one of the worst experiences of my life. At a very young age, and I do not have a good constitution for pain. Especially not then. I don't even have a good constitution for pain now. Like, if I stub my toe nowadays, I still get a little, This was wretched. This was absolutely wretched. I hated it so much. But so, it's bleeding, obviously. It's painful, obviously. But we collect my cousin, we go back to my grandma's house, and it's bandaged up. Now, we used to do this thing when I was a kid where we would spend 2 weeks at each grandparent's house. So we finished up our 2 weeks at grandma, or at that grandma's house. And then about a month later, I think, I'm at my other grandma's house taking a bath. By then, the toe is, not wholly healed, but pretty close to fully healed. Or not, no, not, or is, no, that's not what I meant to say. The toe is not in serious pain anymore. And I realize that it's loose. That the toenail is loose. So I start going. So I just go, like Jeff Goldblum peeling off his fingernail on the fly. And I see my nail bed. It is just this, gross, scratched up. It looks like Freddy Krueger's face if he weren't as crispy. But I think it looks cool because I'd never seen a toenail, I never seen a digit without a fingernail before. Or, well, a digit without a nail before. So I call my other grandma and say, Grandma, my toenail came off finally. And she's like, okay, sweetie, that's nice. Like, she's trying to be nice, but now I can't help but look at it like, oh my god, why did I curse her with that knowledge? Just talking about that reminds me of, when I was a kid. Each grandma had a specific set of movies that we associated with that grandparent. My one grandma had The Black Cauldron, the three Caballeros. What other? She actually was the first one in our family to get a DVD player, so she had the Snow White DVD, and I played the mini game on that a ton. And it was really cool because you had Tony J as the magic mirror. Um, oh yeah, she also had the Rugrats Passover tape, and the Reptar or the Reptar Rugrats tape, which had a bunch of Reptar episodes on it. Reptar, Reptar, gotta get that Reptar. Reptar might be one of the most famous famous things that is fictitious even in the property it comes from. Like, think about that. Like, it's a Godzilla parody from Rugrats. Yet it's one of the most iconic parts of the Rugrats franchise. Anyway, I am Reptar, hear me roar. I am Reptar, mega dinosaur. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Rugrats now. Um, and then, so yeah, that was what my grandma in Des Moines had. And then my grandma in South Dakota, whenever we went to her house, she had a much more robust film collection, weirdly enough. But, like, there were some weird things in it. Like, she had Tomb Raider, she had Resident Evil. The things I remember most at her house are Scooby Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, Rugrats in Paris, and the Digimon movie. Like, it wasn't like that was just a weird collection of film. And like my brother, sister, and I would watch the Digimon movie every single time we went to Grandma's house. Um, she also had, or she's also the one who introduced us to Austin Powers and Mel Brooks. Like, every time they got a new Mel Brooks film Mel Brooks film, they watched it with us. So High Anxiety, Spaceballs. I don't think they ever watched. I don't think they ever watched The Producers or Blazing Saddles with us. You see, because weirdly, I've only ever seen Blazing Saddles on cable, so it was always the censored version. I have not seen a version of Blazing Saddles where the N word is actually said. As weird as it is to say. Um, I think it's easy to fix that, though. I do believe I have the DVD somewhere. And then, of course, I do believe it's on streaming. It's a Warner Brothers film after all. It should be on HBO Max or Netflix. Oh, Clark ripped the beak off his squeaky duck. Um, Actually, I'll do another. Like, it's weird to say. This is the strangest thought I've ever had, but I've had it since I was a kid. Each part of our family seemed to almost have different loyalties for what production company we or for what film company we tended to buy from. Because my cousin in Des Moines loved Nickelodeon movies. Had Good Burger, all that, like just a ton of Nickelodeon stuff. So I associate them with Nickelodeon, which is Paramount. And I think they did actually have a few other Paramount properties as well. Then my grandma in South Dakota was Warner Brothers, because they had Austin Powers, which is New Line. They had Mel Brooks, who did all his best work with Warner Brothers, I believe. That like my cousins who were there watched a ton of, or my older cousins there, because I do have some younger cousins now there too. Watched a ton of like Scooby Doo stuff with them. Also, my cousin had all the Ben 10 alien toys as a kid. Um, and then we were Disney because we had all the Disney movies. Funny story. My mom threw out our VHS copy of James the Giant Peach because I would watch it and get nightmares. And she said it always bugged her that I could watch Jurassic Park and be fine, but I would watch James the Giant Peach and would get nightmares. Nothing in Jurassic Park, not even the Dilophosaurus, is as scary as those awful aunts from James the Giant Peach. Anyway, that's all just a preamble to say this. My cousin in Des Moines had a Nickelodeon style telephone. Now, I thought it was a toy because it was covered in all this colorful plastic. It looked like a toy. And I was like I don't know, kindergarten, first grade. The oldest I could have been was 8. And, third grade. Or, no. Anyway. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Or, no. Sorry. I'm not saying, okay, what am I going to do? My brain's processing there. And so, what does a child who doesn't know any better immediately do with a phone? With a phone that they think is a toy? They dial 911. In fairness, my cousin told me, but I thought my cousin was a liar. Because, it's hard to tell when my cousin is telling the truth or not. They're not a very emotive person. So I called 911 and the cops had to come. It's not even the worst time I called 911. One time I called 911 on my dad because he refused to let me ride in the front seat to school. That was when I was in kindergarten. I was a really shitty kid sometimes. I watch home movies of myself as a kid and I'm like, oh my god, I would slap the shit out of myself. Pardon my French, but there's this one home video of me at Christmas, and my brother and I each got a present, and I realized that we got the wrong, it's the same present, but we got the ones that were addressed to the wrong person. So I rip my brother's out of his hands and say, no, this is mine, and then hand him his. And the poor kid is crying. Granted, this doesn't excuse some of the stuff he would do to me later in life, but still. I admit that I was a very self-centered and bratty child. And I endeavor to make sure that I am not one as an adult. I had a weird, because I was in a weird position. I was the firstborn on both sides of the family. My mom is literally convinced that my 2 oldest cousins were both conceived out of envy for me. Mind you, she does not have a high opinion of her sister or her sister-in-law. I love my mom, but she's a very judgmental person. Now, I'm not saying that judgment is validated, but she is still very judgmental. Anyway, I've rambled long enough. This started as just me recounting the time I got my toenail torn off, but it turned into this weird, meandering, just collection of vignettes. Whatever. You all have a good one. This is Royce Miller. I'm outie.